My name is Scott Tolley. I'm on the Black Duck Polaris product management team, and I'm here to help you get a nice fast start with fast static. This is a very powerful static analysis engine, which is going to help you to find and fix security defects and secrets in your proprietary code and infrastructure as code templates as well. And of course, that's all before your adversaries do. I'll show you how you can get started with the scanning, what to do with the results, and what to look at next.
So here I have a project, HTech. The quickest way for me to get any kind of scan to try it out is to hit new test, and then I'm going to ask for fAST, and I'm just going to upload some code. So let me pick a zip of my code base. I can upload that for a scan. But there are many other ways to scan with Polaris. You could be pointing Polaris at an SCM repository like GitHub, or Azure DevOps and so forth. You could be building it into your build pipelines with the Black Duck Bridge CLI, or with GitHub Actions and so forth. This is just the quickest way to get an initial scan. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that for most common enterprise development languages, you can run scans like this without any kind of build being necessary, but there are exceptions, things like C++. So if you're not sure, you can always check the Polaris support information page in the help documentation and see what kind of scan will work with which language. But naturally, the fun starts once you get those scan results. So let's take a look at HTech and see what we can see. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this list of findings and use the filters, because there are probably some vulnerabilities that are going to interest you more than others. If you're working in a specific part of the code base, for example, maybe you're an engineer working on the block controller, you're going to be interested in exactly that. So we can search on that. If, on the other hand, you want to get started by looking at the highest severity issues, that's probably a good idea, and you can play around with the filters. Once you've found something of interest, let's click through to it and take a look at the details. Now, of course, you're going to get information such as where is the problem, what kind of problem is it, guidance on how to remediate it, and so forth. But perhaps most of all, the context of the vulnerability potentially in a very large code base. It could be a sequence of methods that call other methods, the parts, data around, which build up the story of this vulnerability. So here I'm going to see that subscribe is the entry point into my application. So the endpoints are vulnerable. Blog subscriber is the user input, which is not trusted. And then I'm going to see what happens in the rest of this code base. Now, some 30 or 40 lines later, I see that we're going to be calling another method, add subscriber to blog stack queue, with this user input, and I can click on show evidence here to see what happens next, and the fact that this untrusted user input gets concatenated into an SQL string and executed, and hence this classic SQL injection vulnerability. Now, I could do all of this by making use of CodeSite, which is the Black Duck IDE plugin, and then I can check out these same vulnerabilities that are present on the Polaris server, but locally in my IDE. All the same details are going to be available to help me work on the problem locally in the context of my own developer tools. And then finally, I can also make use of some of the AI capabilities in the Polaris platform using Polaris Assist. Let's hit that button there for the AI insight. And this is going to build up a picture of me of what the problem is, some analysis of what the code is doing and why it's vulnerable, and then give me a clue as to what kind of changes I should be making in the code in order to remediate the issue. Now, once I've understood the problem, I am going to either fix it if I think it's a serious problem that needs to get fixed right away, or if not, I'm probably going to classify it so that I don't keep looking at the same issues. So to do that, let me select it here and hit the triage button. Triage is all about how you add your human engineering classifications on top of the issues that live in the Polaris platform, because it might be that, yes, this is something we have to fix. It could equally be that there's a good reason why the code is like this, or it might be a false positive. So I can triage that, add any comments if I need to, hit save, and then that is going to be stored in the Polaris platform and I won't need to look at it again. But you might be thinking, I work on different branches. So do I have to do this on every single branch? I'm going to be continuously reviewing these same issues that I've decided I'm not going to fix? Absolutely not. So Polaris is going to take into account those branches and the commonalities between them for you. So if I go and click on a different branch, for example, I will keep all that triage I've already done on the findings that are common between this branch and the main branch. And I can also make use of a very useful filter here where I could ask for just the findings which are present in this branch, because that represents the new list that I'm going to be adding if I add this to my application.
Okay, so let's head back here. That's the end of the demo. We've seen how we can start detecting security vulnerabilities and secrets very quickly with Polaris Assist, triage and manage those findings, track your organization's progress on the Polaris platform, and even accelerate defect remediation with AI-powered Polaris Assist. And if you'd like to learn more, head to blackduck.com/Polaris.